Hey Christian metal friends, welcome in. In this video, we are going to explore how Christian rock and metal music have not only transformed countless individual lives, but have also had what I believe is a very positive impact and influence on the church at large, challenging them to reach out beyond their walls to the people around them in the community. The terms rock and metal represent far more than just a genre of music. They describe entire communities of people and a mission field filled with people who crave hope and love and joy and grace. And Christian rock and metal music and the artists and bands who create it have awakened the church in so many ways to these precious communities of people. And in the process, again, they've influenced how the church approaches ministry and outreach, I think, in powerful ways. Let's dive in and talk about this. Rocking you up for Jesus Christ with classic style hard rock music and practical Bible teaching. When Christian rock first began to emerge in the late 1960s and into the 70s, artists like Larry Norman, Randy Stonehill, Petra, Resband, Jerusalem faced a lot of skepticism, both from the world, who didn't know what to make of them, and the church, who in a very different way also didn't really know what to make of them. Many people in the church honestly saw Christian and rock music as an oxymoron, like so many others who were the first to do things in various fields. Those early Christian rock and metal artists were misunderstood, stereotyped, and branded rebels and heretics by many within the church who just didn't understand what it was all about.
And all I want to know is why should the devil have all the good music? Jesus is the answer. Everything you need to know. Give myself to you, Jesus. Jesus, He is the most fantastic. Jesus is the way.
Over time, these rock and metal missionaries blazed a trail that showed the church something vital. There were entire communities of people in the world who were craving what the gospel offers, but they were very unlikely to ever walk in the doors of a traditional church or be reached by traditional church ministry.
To start off, why don't you tell us, being the Teletrax viewers, what is the whole Stryper concept all about?
It's about one thing, and that's Christ. You know, we're here to rock and roll, but to spread a message that's different from 90% of the groups that are out there. You know, we're here to sing about Jesus Christ and to spread the good news.
I don't think the church, first of all, even understands the kind of kids that we're working with. I don't think they really understand where the people are at. They don't, for the most part, I don't think they're even aware that this kind of a movement even exists. A lot of the people we're reaching through the thrash and the speed metal crowd is really an underground movement. It's almost a culture within a culture within a culture.
Decade by decade, Christian rock and metal music just continued to heighten the church's awareness of these precious people. Today, these genres of music are recognized as powerful tools that transform lives and introduce the gospel to all kinds of people that traditional ministry simply never could reach.
Christian metal means so much to me. It has impacted my life in an incredible way. To me, it's more than just music. It's part of my spiritual upbringing. You know, as a kid growing up in the 1980s, I remember, listening to Motley Crue and Iron Maiden and Twisted Sister and saying, this is the music I love. First time I heard a metal song was Quiet Riot's Come On Feel the Noise, and I knew I was hooked. But I also had that battle within me, knowing the lyrics that were being sung about were not godly at all. And I struggled with that, but I loved the music. Then one day I heard this group called Stryper, and I heard their message, I heard their musicianship, and it absolutely blew me away. It was more than just music, though, for me. It was an outlet. It was a spiritual outlet, an outlet where I can express my Christianity through music and feel really good about it.
I think in a large part, Christian metal and Christian rock served a couple purposes: pastoral and evangelistic. Evangelism is reaching the lost, and lost means valuable. It's lost, and I've got to find it. And pastoring is like nurturing, like a shepherd pastors his flock. Feeds the flock, encourages the flock, basically encourages a Christian to keep growing in Christ.
Christian metal has been a powerful vehicle for metal missionaries to deliver a timeless, life-changing message. Bands like Tourniquet, Skillet, and Holy Soldier have used this platform to proclaim the gospel to countless people, oftentimes facing resistance but remaining steadfast. Whether it's through their lyrics packaged in music that people can relate with or moments of raw vulnerability, interacting with fans after a show, these artists have made the gospel accessible to people who otherwise may never have heard it. Perhaps one of the most profound contributions of Christian rock and metal music, at least in my world here in America, has been the way it has awakened the church to the need to engage with mission fields and subcultures of people in their own backyard. These bands and artists, just by the very nature of who they weren't waiting on people to come into church buildings. They were going out to the places where these people live and lifting up Christ with their music and their testimonies. And as time went on, more and more people who were impacted by this ministry, of course, filtered into the church and began to influence it more and even more. And in time, the church began to wake up to new methods and a new attitude toward reaching people who maybe didn't look just like the average person in the pew, but needed Jesus. And one of the really cool things that happened within the churches, they began to rethink who their mission field was and how they went about meeting people where they are instead of asking people to come in and hear the gospel just within that church building.
I feel like everybody who calls themselves a Christian should be doing exactly what I'm doing, but in their area of expertise. So whatever you do on a day-to-day basis as a Christian, your goal should be the same as my goal is, and that is to live out my faith and share that with people right where I'm at. For me, that is on a stage or in a club or in the alley behind the club or wherever it might be, and through writing the lyrics or performing the music. But I don't see that that's any different than the one-on-one interactions that every Christian has throughout the day.
From the skeptics of the past to the believers of today, Christian rock and metal have shown us that God can use any style of music to draw people to himself. It's not just about headbanging riffs or soaring or growling vocals. It's about lives being transformed by the power of the gospel. So my fellow Jesus-loving headbangers, be bold, be loud, and be Christian metal ambassadors to the people around you. Let your light shine. Keep your eyes on Jesus.